All right, folks, welcome back to another edition of the Red and White Podcast. I'm Evan here with my co-host Dustin, and this is the accidentally drunk edition. Dustin, how you doing, buddy?
I'm living the dream, man.
Apparently.
This is all residual from Saturday.
I was going to say, we tried to pull like in your notes, Dave Dorn and not pay attention to this game, but...
Yeah. I'm just going with the not paying attention to life. So...
Yeah. Well, what are you pouring there?
Well, this is the finest Evan Williams Black Label. I don't drink that green shit unless I'm mixing it, so...
Evan Williams is highly underrated, by the way.
See, it started out as I walked by the cart and I saw a couple of low bottles, and I'm like, I need to make some room. So I started out with Basil Hayden, which is an excellent bourbon if you've never had it. Finished that, and then I was like, okay, what's the next lowest bottle? Rebel Yell, real close in quality. It was like half full, and I finished it. So now, I went into the cabinet to get the cheap stuff. So we're good.
Well, so we'll be unfiltered tonight, folks. He's gonna let him fly. If I had to take a guess.
Yeah, the best part is my wife has no idea.
Not until tomorrow.
Yeah.
She listens to this.
Yeah. She finds out I'm drunk on a Monday. Woo boy.
Hey, it happens. It happens when you get beat 54-3 or whatever the score was, 13.
Are we really going to talk about it?
I mean, we have to, unfortunately, very briefly. I don't even know what to say. It's like you expect it to a degree.
No,
everybody says
no.
State fans expect it, right? They expect the hangover to some degree, but I don't think anybody expected us to be as shitty as we were, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, that was
it was awful.
Like, I don't know. I started bringing it up last week how it was a really bad matchup to kind of prepare myself, but not for that, man. I mean, it's embarrassing. And, we talked last week. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it is embarrassing. That's the perfect description. We had, one of our emailers said exactly that. It's like it's just embarrassing when you do that. You're on national TV. You play a close game the week before, everybody's talking about your defense is solid, and then you just get curb stomped for, I don't know.
My thing is, okay, they were ranked 7th when we played them.
Yeah,
they're still not the best team in our division.
Right.
So you play the number 2 in your division, and they beat you like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. We talked last week about how after that Clemson game, it wasn't really fair to, read the barometer on Doran.
Right.
But this kind of makes that tough because he's in, what is this, year 4?
Yeah.
Coaches aren't supposed to lose games like this in year 4.
Yeah, I think that was the best point. I think that's exactly right.
I mean, you can lose. I mean, they were a good game or a good team. I'm not surprised we lost, but the way we lost is... I'm sorry. I don't care what happened the week before. Just unacceptable.
Yeah, and I actually... Debbie Howe tweeted something, and maybe in response to somebody else. She said, I've never seen a more effective quarterback. Notre Dame, Clemson, Louisville in a row took a toll on us. And I responded to her, I just said, sorry, quarterback, as good as he is, and he's the best player in the nation, is not part of is there's more to 44-0 than is them having a good quarterback. And, to her, I'll give her credit. She responded and said, I agree. I'm not trying to debate that, just acknowledging the overall challenge. Sure, it's a challenge. I get it. And then I turned on the Auburn-Arkansas game, and Arkansas just played Texas A&M. I don't even remember schedule. The point is they run through the SEC, right? LSU's playing Ole Miss, have Bama next week, play Auburn.
Right.
It's just
Yeah, you play in
it's
the
college
SEC
football.
West, you deal with it.
Right?
It's
I
the
mean, you
same
play in
thing.
college football,
Yeah.
right? Wisconsin's had a pretty tough run there for a hot minute. Ohio State played Wisconsin. See what happened at Penn State, but it's I don't like that as an excuse. I think that's pretty weak. It's weak to be unprepared to the point where they come out of that gate 44-0 the first quarter. You were -1 offensive yardage. I just
And it goes back to what was it? 2 years ago when we went to Clemson.
yeah,
It was
41
like
nothing.
41-0.
Yep.
And then we look at last week and we're like, man, you can really see how they made strides.
Right.
How they got better. And then you come out to something worse the next week? Come on.
That's exactly that's the frustrating part. That year 4 with the players that we have, and you can see we have talent, no doubt about it, to still have those sorts of moments where you're just embarrassed. I mean, that's not good. That's hard for me to defend, and I've been a strong Dave Dorn defender for a while. But I need to see some progress in the team. He better come out of the gates for the rest of these games with his ass on fire, and the team better play that way. Otherwise, I can't defend him anymore, and I doubt the people who actually matter will defend him anymore.
No. And we talked about that last week. I tweeted it out before the game. Respectable is acceptable.
Yes.
I wasn't worried about a win. Just come out and prove that you had a tough game last week. It doesn't completely destroy you the next week. You have to have control of the locker room. And I'm not saying he's lost the locker room. That's not what I mean. But I mean, the mental aspect. And there's no other explanation for that. I mean, you saw the second half. Once they settled down, we could play with them.
Yeah, I think there's going to be somebody that points out, hey, we won the second half 13-10. Cool. Louisville had all but given up at that point. There was no sense of urgency for them anymore. They knew they had won. So,
I even thought about during the game.
Yeah.
It's hard for a defense to care when they're up 40 points,
Right. And so it's a positive, and it kind of shows you that we have the talent, and there's no reason for us to come out 44-0. Just be unprepared and flat. Look awful.
Yeah.
Just from top to bottom, everybody looked bad. And that's the frustrating part. Yeah.
Do you think Finley's coming down to earth now, or was it just that he's had those 2 games? Because
I think,
he's yet to pass the P5 test because Wake Forest doesn't count. And Notre Dame, that
Which
game
is
wasn't
funny,
a passing game,
Yeah. That's an interesting question. I don't know if he's come back to earth or he's feeling a little bit more comfortable, or he's making maybe worse decisions or a little bit more aggressive decisions. The Clemson interceptions, I think, he had 2 or 3 of them, but either half of them weren't his fault. One was a bounce off a receiver, one was a pass interference that led to an interception that wasn't called. So I get it. The interception in overtime was an awful throw. It was the same throw he threw in the first play of this game. It was that inside, deep slant route. And, first throw, there was an interception. The guy wasn't open. I don't know why he threw it. And I was hoping it would be, for some reason I'm pulling for Jalen McClendon. I guess he's the backup now, and everybody likes the backup quarterback, but I'm pulling for him. And he comes in his first play.
He came here, he stuck it out. He knew he was coming, and he was sitting. It was supposed to be his job. I want him to play too. So I feel you there.
And then he comes in and throws a pick on the screen pass, and I'm like, then you're like, it's all just snowballing. But I don't know. It makes it hard to defend Dorn in this situation because if you don't see any progress, I can't respond to somebody who says, Dorn stinks. Well, I was like, all right, well, you might be right. I've been able to defend that for a long time because he didn't have the talent.
We had started to come back from that. We were getting to the doubter side, and then Clemson happened. All right, maybe this is the turning point. And that's why we try to take the neutral standpoint last week. But that shit's over.
Yes.
That's done. You better close the year strong.
Yeah, he absolutely better come out strong. And which is the problem because teams like Syracuse are getting better, right?
Yeah.
There's Favors has got them kind of clicking a little bit, and they're winning.
See,
Right? They
that's
were
scary.
6-point dogs on the road this weekend, and they won.
Yeah.
They won by 2 touchdowns.
That's scary. You look at them and you say you can honestly see progress from them.
Right.
And after Clemson last week, I'm like, all right, you can see progress, but then we just came crashing back down to earth.
Right.
And we are who a lot of people thought we were, whatever.
Yes, it's sad.
Building off of the Finley P5 test, does that kind of go into has Coach Drink passed the P5 test?
Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, this week was
bad. There was some
maybe a bit of an
play
aberration.
calling.
I think it was bad everywhere. I don't necessarily know if it was the play calling or the execution. There were some awful plays called. I still have less of a problem with his play calling this year than I've had with a lot of our offensive coordinators in the past. So maybe I'm not ready to either judge him or. Yeah, I've been fine with the offense so far this year. So I'm not really sure to pass judgment on it.
No, this is the first time. Well, I was kind of.
It hasn't been perfect,
but this is the first time I was really pissed off. Like
yeah,
there's some stuff, but we're picking it apart now.
Yeah, it hurt him.
Lost.
Yeah, I'll give him the break with Matt Day's going out. That's and Finley playing awful and just a bunch of things. So I'm not going to judge him on this one. I still like him. I still like his aggressive play calling. What does baffle me and why you brought this up is that the freaking reverse screen, or what is it? It's like a reverse screen wide receiver pass.
Needs to be taken out,
right? You know what I'm
talking
talking about.
Yeah.
Well, no, but that's exactly. I think that summarizes or kind of emphasizes exactly what is wrong with the coaching situation, because we can't execute that play. We've run it 5 or 6 times so far. It's been open almost every time. Either it's been a bad throw, underthrown, thrown to the wrong guy. I don't know what it is. And then I freaking turn on the damn Carolina game. They run the same damn play for a touchdown. Same result. Somebody else, Texas Tech did it, or somebody else did it. Play works. It's open, and we just can't execute it. And I think that just epitomizes the frustration that I have with the coaching at this point. You can't execute that play. You've been trying it. It's been open. There's no reason at this point in the year you should not have hit that by now.
Well, you said Carolina hit it, but they have the projected number 4 pick in the draft, or something like that. Did you see that on Twitter?
I didn't.
I can't remember who. It was from a credible source, and Matt Purdy from R&R had retweeted it out and laughed at it, saying how Trubisky could be the 4th pick in the draft or early quarterback, basically.
But he's not the one throwing that pass. They're throwing it from some wide receiver position.
That's a fair point.
And we have a wide receiver. We have a wide receiver who
used to be a quarterback. Yeah, I don't know.
And then Gavin Locklear's throwing that most of the time.
I'm done with the trick plays until you can execute the regular offense flawlessly. Leave those alone.
Yeah. I don't know. He throw it all you want. I just want to see it go for a touchdown for all the goddamn times they do it. Just so frustrating.
Yeah. Wish in one hand, shit in the other. See which one fills up first. That's exactly the story of state football. Well, it's all state sports aside from all of them. Yeah, but
except for the aquatic sports, we're good at swimming and fishing and something else with a boat. Yeah.
If there was boat drag racing as an NCAA sport, we would own it.
We would probably dominate it. Yes, anything in the water.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just frustrates me. And then I saw, I think it was Carlton Tudor put out an article. Is weekly grading the coaches, and of course, Dave Doran gets an F for all the right reasons. What really bugs me is Larry Fedora gets an A. And it's not the fact that he gets an A, it's the fact that I think he's a good coach. He might be a jackass, and I probably don't like him because he's a Carolina guy. But you can't argue with the results, and you can't tell me they have that much more talent than we do. And they keep winning. They keep winning these games that maybe are tough for us. They're winning by 2 touchdowns or whatever. That's a depressing thing to think about, but that's what I thought about when I read that.
I mean, I don't like giving him any credit,
I hate it.
But he is what he is. If you look at, he was at what, Southern Miss? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They had the same kind of program. They were going to win in shootouts. And That's not necessarily my pick for the kind of program I want, but hey, it's working for them, and they're doing better than we are. So,
I mean, they just get a little bit of defense though, and they win, right? I know Virginia and Miami aren't good, but they're winning.
Yeah. And see, that's the real upsetting part is after Clemson, I'm like, yeah, Miami's kind of down. Like, I think we have that game. I don't know now.
I know what nobody should know. Nobody should be confident in what in anything, in any prediction, because you don't know what team's going to come out there.
And that's
now, granted, they all don't have Louisville. I mean, they don't have Lamar Jackson, but they have other talented players. And
side note,
I don't know, man.
Lamar Jackson is fantastic in college.
He is so good.
Like I've really not seen that dominant of a player since I guess Vince Young at Texas.
And I don't even think Vince Young was that good.
Yeah.
I mean, he was good for what he did. I don't think he's just good all around. Lamar Jackson's good all around.
Does that translate to Sundays though?
That's the question. I'm not sure if he's big enough or whatnot, but Jesus, he's getting it done.
Well,
Drew
Wisconsin
Brees
had a
is
small quarterback by the name of Russell Wilson, and he did okay.
Yeah, I was gonna go Drew Brees, but yes, that guy, that Wisconsin quarterback, he's tiny, he's doing all right, and Lamar Jackson is quite a bit faster than him.
No, his legs are great, his vision's great. I just don't know if he has the arm to.
I don't know. If you saw some of those throws he made against us,
yeah,
it made him look like a damn Heisman contender.
Against us was the key there. So
yeah, I know. He did it against Clemson too. What I would love to see is I want to see Louisville, Alabama, because they play completely different games. And it would probably be similar to Louisville, Clemson, but Alabama's just ridiculously physical, and Louisville's fast, and they'd have to chase down Lamar Jackson. I would just love to see that matchup for anything. I think that would be an excellent game.
Man, I don't know. This Bama team is next
good.
level, even for Saban. Like,
yeah.
I mean, that game Saturday, A&M is good. And they came out and, take like a, 14-13 lead right after halftime. And that's a punch in the mouth. And then Alabama just put the hammer down, man. Like, I don't know. I can't see anybody beating them this year.
It doesn't look like it. But, you just never know.
Do you think Louisville deserves a spot in the playoff if the season ended now?
I think it's tough because you have
saying it, and I just can't see it, man. They're
maybe not now because you have Bama, Washington, Clemson, Ohio State just lost. Who else is undefeated? There's maybe another. Baylor still undefeated.
Big 12 doesn't count so much, but any other conference.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. There's still a lot of good teams out there, surprisingly. I don't know. I mean, I can see an argument for it since Ohio State just lost. But I don't know.
I still think Louisville is better than Clemson.
So here's a question for us, getting back on State, because I agree with your last statement. But let's say hypothetical world, Nick Saban is in Raleigh. Does he get more out of this team, or does he get more out of Alabama because he's got clearly the best talent?
Nah, that's a trick question because his name brings the talent.
Well, okay.
Are you trying to judge just his coaching ability?
Yeah, I'm
Or
curious. Like, how much? What could our team, do right now with Nick Saban level coaching?
is the rest of the staff the same?
I
Or do
think
we
be
get
anybody you
Kiffin
want.
too?
I'm just let's not go down that road.
No, I'm saying, are we trading staff for staff or just HC for HC?
We'll just say Nick Saban could bring in whoever he wants.
Oh, Saban. Now, how's this a question?
Well, I'm just saying, what level results will we get from it? I know we'd get more, but what would he do? How much could we get out of this team with better coaching? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask.
I don't know. I think we're a 9-win team then.
Yeah.
At least.
So 9 is still on the table, right? For us, 4 and 3. Yeah, 9's still on the table.
Yeah, air quotes on the table. Yeah.
Huh? I'm just saying it's on the table. So I'm kind of figuring out, like, trying to figure out where the threshold is, right? Where's the threshold for them to say, all right, this is not good enough? If that's possible, if that would happen, I don't know. Because I don't feel like we're getting the most out of our team. But again, 9 wins is still on the table. I don't know. Interesting thing to think about.
No, I mean, that's... I don't know. I'm as big of a hater as you'll find right now. But that's an unfair comparison, man.
Well, again, Nick Saban's the I'm just put anybody in there who's a good coach, right? Put Fedora on our team. What would happen?
Nah, I don't want to talk about Fedora. I refuse to accept that. He's forever tainted.
Yeah.
And my beard's better than his beard. Bothers me. It really does.
Yeah,
it just showed
it's
up
a fake
this
beard.
year.
It's one of those hipster wannabe beards.
Just put some milk on there and let the cat lick it off. But I don't know. Even then, I mean, all right, straight up, Fedora or Doran?
Oh, I mean, I'd hate to do it, but right now I feel like Fedora's getting more out of what he's got.
It's all about. I mean, it's about results.
I want to win.
Man.
Yeah, I want to win. I don't care at this point.
And the thing about Fedora is, Fedora is more of a state coach than a Carolina coach anyway.
Right, and that's that's what people have said. Yeah. People say, well, I want a Chuck Amato guy who gets in here and gets people excited, and
like that video of him beating the shit out of the tire with a sledgehammer, dude. That's something you'd see in the fairground student lot. Like, I would do that,
Yeah. 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 I mean, are you saying the same thing? You saying Fedora?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that sucks. And that sucks. See, that's what bugs the crap out of me.
I apologize for my dog squeaks, guys.
Nobody cares.
No, it's not even close.
Yeah.
It's really not.
That's sad. And that's upsetting.
Yeah, but what are you going to do? Can we stop talking about... Let's look at this week.
All right, moving on. Let's get off this crap. That was way too long. Sorry to dwell on that. BC comes in. They're awful, and now their quarterback's got a hamstring, as O'Brien would say. So,
oh, dude, this is just setting up. This is setting up for some bullshit. Backup quarterback comes in. He's Boston College's savior. I've seen this movie before, and I didn't like it the first time. I'm telling you.
We are kingmakers when it comes to
we're gonna
backup
take that basketball magic to football. Like,
yeah.
No, they're awful. If it's even close, then I want to be pissed. It's homecoming.
I think the
isn't
spread's
it this week?
14. Yeah, it probably is homecoming. The spread's 14. We better win by 21.
I'm telling you,
And
it's going to be like
it shouldn't be close.
It's going to be some 7-point fourth quarter bullshit. And that is unacceptable. I mean, that's
That,
like,
oh man, that would be painful.
they are so bad. When's the last time they won a conference game?
I don't think they've won a conference game in either men's
Bush was
basketball
president,
or
right?
football.
Yeah. So
It goes back a while.
They're, if it's close, that's bad. That's really bad.
Yeah.
Because, okay, Clemson close loss. First Doran fail was blowout this past Saturday. So you get blown out. Your next test is to make that go away and be ready for the next game. If this game's even close, that's a fail.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think anybody wants to see this one close.
I don't even know what to talk about with Boston College. Like, I got their numbers, but they're all shitty.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear that. We'll just go right over that. What I want to say about Boston College, and I think is fascinating, is how drastically their defense has stepped down this year.
We'll see. Their DC left to go to what? Michigan? Is that right?
Right. So that's where I was going with that. They were number one in the country in pretty much every defensive category last year. Total defense, all this stuff. They were really good defense. Harbaugh comes calling and says, "Hey, you gonna coach a real program?" And he bounces. I think that just shows you the impact of coaching.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a fantastic coach, and he calls it. And I saw there was an excellent quote from Harbaugh out there, and he says, or maybe it was from Don Brown, who's the defensive coordinator. He says, "Yeah, Jim called me, asked me my philosophy, and I said, I think it's about 65, 70% pressure." And Harbaugh says, "No, it's 85% pressure." And he's like, "I love this guy." That's how he decided to go to Michigan. I mean, that was a bastardization of that quote, but that's exactly the mentality that he brings, and I think you've seen it in the Michigan defense this year. That's what coaching does, and that's why you want to see those guys that are excellent coaches. And it's starting to get easier to pass judgment on some of these coaches. If you can take a Boston College team to the number one defense in the country with just a god awful rest of your team, he's had a huge impact.
Yeah.
So
the only numerical stat that I want to bring up about Boston College, and then we can just get off of this game because it should be a blowout. Look at their kicking stats, Evan. I know you see them on the screen there. That kicker, 5 field goals out of 5 attempts. NC State
16
kickers,
for 17 extra points too.
Yeah. NC State kickers, that's a bad... The NFL game last night, awful.
Oh, man.
I sat up past midnight to watch a 6-6 tie.
Sorry, I was playing Battlefield.
Let that sink in. A 6-6 tie. There were 4 field goals in that game, no touchdowns, and both teams missed chip shot field goals in overtime. That's why college football is better than pro. But
yeah, I hate the overtime.
6-6.
Anyway.
My God.
Ugh. Yeah. Let's hope he makes a field goal this week. That's all I got to say. I don't know. I don't want to beat on him any more than we normally do.
Yeah.
All right. What else we got? Everything else this week. What's been happening?
Well, today, if you remember back to the Clemson game, their running back, Wayne Gallman, got hurt. I think it might have been first quarter. It was early. Goes to the locker room. I think it was concussion type injury. Well, he decided to come out now and say that play was intentionally dirty, and that this is crazy to me. He came out and publicly said that he wished a teammate could have quote, delivered retribution. How is that acceptable?
I suspect Dabo will come out later in the week and denounce that to a degree.
He effing better, man. Like, that's unacceptable.
Yeah, that's pretty shitty thing to say.
If you don't know what we're talking about,
the video
was it Dravius Wright made the hit, I think.
Yeah.
Like, it was...
He was going for the ball. He was clearly going for the ball with his helmet, which is they put your hand on the ball, right? That's what every coach has probably ever said all the time.
And he was already in spear type position. I mean, he was making the tackle, and then Gallman dropped his head. Like, you can visually see him drop his head, and that's what caused the helmet-to-helmet contact.
Yep.
I don't know. James hit us up on Twitter earlier. James Curl, R&R Podcast. Evan, I'll let you lead this because I'm drunk and I don't want to read.
So I assume you're talking about the highlighted part.
Yeah.
Basically, it's the breakdown of the targeting rules. And we talked about this when Sean Boone got ejected and how shady it is and how inconsistent it's been. And it's probably been one of the most inconsistent calls across college football in general. And it's basically, it has to be forcible contact. His says, when the instant replay official reverses disqualification, if the targeting foul is not conjunction with another personal foul by the same player, the 15-yard penalty for targeting is not enforced. If the player commits another personal foul in conjunction with the targeting foul, the 15-yard penalty for that personal foul is enforced according to Rule 9.14, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of judgment call in all this. If you read over all of the targeting rules, the guy's got to be defenseless. It's kind of nonsense, right? They either need to clarify it explicitly so that we don't get in these situations anymore. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. We beat it down to death. I think it's just, it's annoying, is what it is.
I guess my biggest issue with that is, like, post the actual screenshot that James sent us. We'll just retweet it. But
yeah,
if leading with the crown is its own rule is just baffling to me.
Oh, right.
How do you dive? Like, how do you do anything? If leading with the crown is a separate thing in itself.
Right.
Like, it's so nitpicky. And that's the part of the rule that they've used as the letter of the law. And I think that's the frustrating part. Is they're taking this one part of this rule and saying, okay, this is it, without enforcing or not without taking in the other qualifications. So, like, are you supposed to dive? Say you go in that horizontal spear-like position. Are you supposed to just, pull your head to the side to make sure that your shoulder is the first thing to hit? Like, does that get you off,
I think it does, but I actually saw that called in one of the games this weekend, and I wish I would have taken better notes. If I knew Gallman was going to be a jackass, I would have pointed it out. But the guy did the same thing. He went head first, but kind of rotated himself, and his shoulder hit the dude's helmet, and they call it targeting. Yeah, and it's not right. There's too much impact there, and I know they're trying to do it for safety and this, that, and the other.
It's football, though.
But they need to clarify the rules.
Like, hits are gonna happen.
Yeah.
Not everything is an intentional, I'm trying to go head to head and hurt you type move.
Right.
#DBAP. Don't be a pussy. Like, like, it happens.
Right.
You could find
sucks.
a play. You could find something on every single play to throw a flag on.
Right. You
Like
really could.
there's holding
How many
on
missed
pretty
holdings
much
do we
every
see?
play.
Yeah.
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 Like, but when a defender has already went horizontal and he's leading, and then the offensive player decides to tuck their head, which is natural instinct, you kind of duck when you know you're going to get hit.
Yeah.
So that's the defender's
That
fault? Come on, man, grow up
that's
here.
they need to
Like,
clarify that. They
yeah.
really do. Yes, you're exactly right.
Like, that's one that, honestly, I know everything needs to be cut and dry, but that's a judgment call. Like, they have to make a, like, conscientious, like, it has to be, was there evil intent, or was that a football play? And the way it
Yeah.
is now, it can be a football play, but by rule, it can be, labeled intentional. And it's crap.
Right.
It's really crap. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you. It sucks. I think it was a shitty thing of Gallman to say, because I'm pretty sure Dre Wright's not trying to hurt anybody, at least not in that regards.
No, how do you even think about that during a game?
Right.
Like
Right.
you don't, that pre-snap, oh, I'm gonna hurt this sumbitch now. Like, no, you don't do that. You're trying to get the ball carrier down. You don't know who's gonna have it. You don't know what's happening. You're trying to stop the play.
See ball, get ball.
Yeah. Any kind of dirty play is more than likely going to be after the play.
Right.
Like sue. Like something like that. NFL type,
Yeah.
Stomping people's ankles and shit. Like, that's dirty. Right. But a split-second decision to launch yourself at the ball carrier? No, not at all. Like, it even pisses me off when I see State fans bitching and whining, oh, we should have got a targeting call there. No, just shut up. Like, it was a tackle, Like,
right.
It would have probably been called on us, but it's football. It is what it is.
I mean, I'm with you. I think it's awful. And it's frustrating to just constantly see that. And I think what it comes down to, and I don't know why they don't nationalize the officials. Right, this is probably a whole nother topic, whole nother podcast, but there's no reason that the instant replay shouldn't be nationalized like the NFL, and there's no reason that there should be a national pool of officials. There's enough money. The NCAA makes enough money to pay the officials to be full-time officials to get these things right, to get the calls right.
Else, why wouldn't they run that?
Right. I think you saw, I don't know what, this is a couple days ago, that the head official for I think it was the ACC title game last year, his daughter was a Clemson student and at the game. And you're telling me there's no influence there, right? Yeah. That guy's supposed to be completely biased. Completely unbiased, right? I don't buy that. Just just nationalize them, rotate them so we don't see the same three guys, every game making the same calls with the same assumptions. And it goes back to the Carolina thing. Oh, Carolina plays differently. They don't foul. This is basketball, right? One of the refs said that about their basketball team. Like, give me a break, right? That's just the preconceived notion of how a game is supposed to be called, and that is just wrong.
And see, that's frustrating. It would be really hard to be an official because whether you admit it or not, those preconceived notions carry so much merit in the judgment calls that you make.
Right.
Like, imagine, I'm trying to think of a good analogy. As a State fan, let's just use basic stuff here. If a play goes the wrong way, your natural assumption is going to be, well, how did we get screwed there?
Yes.
So if an official comes into it with, well, they never do anything like that. Or, well, this team's way better than this other one, so there's no way they would do anything like that. then instinctually they're going to call stuff that way. They might not even mean to. But you look at the first half of that Clemson State game, that kind of thing. And I'm a firm believer in the fact that it's not even intentional, but it's perception of the better team is not going to make the mistakes that the lesser team will.
I think that's 100% right.
So
anyway we'll move on from our official ranting, as I think every State fan probably hates officials, and we could probably talk about it for a long time. All right, I think our last little thing to talk about is our Vegas locks of the week. Just like to pat myself on the back for getting on the right track here.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Evan has gone positive, folks.
That's right.
He can make his cable payment, not quite the mortgage payment, but he's covered the cable bill. Just basic, not movie channels, but
let's not get crazy.
Yeah. So Evan has gone, what you're 1-3 now, I think?
I got to be better than that.
No,
I mean,
I got it here. You better back it up because I'm pulling it up. Yes, you have improved
I was just
to
hoping you're
1-3. No, I wrote that shit down. So Evan has improved to 1-3, but hey, you got to win 1 before you win 2. So
that's right. That's exactly right.
I would like to attack you on your character for trying to win money off Carolina, though. I thought you were a man of principle, but apparently I was wrong.
Yeah, when it comes to the green, I can take it.
Yeah, I feel you.
That was an easy bet. I think, Virginia is not very good. That was just a bad matchup for them. So
yeah, I'm with that. I dropped to 1-2-1 as Ohio State was shown to be a fraud.
I called that one. Thank you very much.
You didn't call an outright loss. You called the points.
Well, I called they were covered.
Yeah. There was
too much setting up for that one.
Yeah, but
they had an emotional game the week before on the road, night game. Penn State's not going to lose by 20. I thought that was that was an easy one.
I'll give you the cover, but 20-point favorite to an outright, like
you want to know who's bitching about officials? The Ohio State fans.
Yeah.
Because if you watch that game, there's a couple questionable calls that very well could cost them a spot in the playoff, right? At some point, they got to be pissed about that.
Yeah, but, officials don't determine outcomes, remember?
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot about that.
Remember?
Yeah. I love how that comes up. Somebody always brings that up when another team is complaining about the officials, and I love it. It just makes me laugh.
Yeah. But, yeah, honest to God, officials shouldn't have determined the outcome of that game.
Yeah.
Like that really showed where the Big Ten is and who's in charge. Michigan manhandled Penn State.
Yes.
And I don't care if it's home, whiteout, you scream until whatever the hell they do up there, but Ohio State can't lose that game. So
I still wouldn't take James Franklin over Dave Dorn if we're going back to that comparison.
I would take James Franklin over Dave Dorn.
Oh, God, I think he's awful.
He dealt with a bunch of shit when he got there.
All right,
I'm sorry, if you can win at Vandy, you're okay. Like, if you can win at Vandy, you can win at NC State.
I just don't like the guy. I'm just not a fan.
What's your problem with James Franklin? Let's sit down into to Dustin's therapist corner. I don't know what the hell to call it. What's your problem with James Franklin?
I just don't think he's a good coach. I don't think they've progressed either.
How did you win at Vanderbilt, though?
Yeah, he won at Vanderbilt. I'll give him that. But they had their own problems when he left there. You see all that, that whole scandal.
Yeah. But he won. We're looking at wins and losses, not off the field.
He won and he beat us in a bowl game. So
I
still wouldn't take him. I don't like
that one. Hurt. As I record the podcast every week, I sit and I've got I'm trying to think of what year this is. The signed poster over my head, and Mike Glennon is the centerpiece of this. and that
Can
was
somebody sign that guy? For God's
dude.
sakes.
He's done. His contract with Tampa is done this year,
I
so
can't
he'll
wait to get
sign
him
with
out there.
somebody.
There's so many bad quarterbacks in the league. Just want to give the guy a chance because he's got to be better than
Yeah.
half of them.
Yeah, I
Anyway.
always think about that Vandy game and how that was Mike Glennon's last game and he just got shit on. But the funny thing is, right under Mike Glennon's signature on that poster is Manny Stalker, number 15. First person to tweet out where Manny Stalker plays now wins a favorite on Twitter from me. You're not gonna win anything, but it's coming to you. So
One other thing about that bowl game, mildly interesting story. I think Earl Wolf had like 20 some tackles in that game or 18 tackles, and I was down at the player pool after the game because I was talking to.
Oh, you went to that game?
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was down at the player pool talking to a friend of mine, Mario Carter, former tight end, and Earl Wolf was there, and his eye looked like Glenn from The Walking Dead last night, where
so Pug guy.
he was just beat up. He had made so many plays and so many tackles that his eye was bleeding and it just looked awful. And he was just the nicest guy. You know, no shocker, everybody loves Earl Wolf, but he was just happy to talk to me. He wasn't down. He's like, yeah, we got beat, missed some plays, blah blah blah, typical stuff, but just super nice guy. So Earl Wolf, if you ever listen to our podcast, I'll never forget that. That was really nice of you. Anyway, random side note there. We got talking about the Music City Bowl from 5 years ago.
What a trap that is, though. That's a home game for them.
Yeah.
I had planned on going to that game. I looked at tickets, hotels, and all that. I got the flu that week, so I didn't go. And that game is the reason I get the flu shot every week. There you go.
Every week?
Because every year. Yeah. Fuck that. But every year I get the flu shot because it messed up my Nashville trip.
Oh, that was a good trip.
No, didn't it like rain / flurry? Like my buddy Rob went to that game. And,
it was like drizzling. It wasn't really raining. I don't remember it being
pretty shitty.
I don't know. I had a good time. There's no telling. It was cold. I do remember that.
But
yeah.
Anyway,
who's your lock of the week this week?
Who's
your lock of the week?
I have no idea. Do you have one?
I got mine. I do.
Well, you go ahead and explain yours while I pull up Safari here and find mine.
I'm going with Wake Forest 6.5 over Army. I think Army's actually not bad this year, but I'm going to give it to Wake Forest at home.
I don't like that pick.
Yeah, well, it's a lock. Put your money on it.
Is it? It's definite?
It's definite. It is going to happen.
All right. Well, my pick... We got to pause because my DSL is so slow it won't even pull up Bovada while we're Skyping.
Well, that's fine. I can keep talking about Wake Forest, and
okay, yeah.
I really think I think Dave Clawson is an excellent coach. You want to talk about making progress? Their schedule set up perfectly for him this year, but he's doing an excellent job. And I think I've even heard Notre Dame fans mention he'd be a good candidate for them. And he probably would be. I think he's fantastic. So progress, that's just something you can see. Going back to us while you're still doing that, next year sets up to be one of our best years from a talent standpoint, and it very well could be
could be
lost
next year,
right? I mean, next year that's the one we said it before the year went. Give Dave Dorn his due for 2017, right? Have patience. But next year, man, if you don't see any progress, it's going to be frustrating again to see a wasted opportunity that a good coach could maybe take advantage of. Yeah, so that's my little 2 cents on that crap. I thought about that during this game. It's like, I'd take a PJ Fleck right now just for next year for that alone.
Well,
I have a man chub for that guy. I think he's excellent.
You do. You talk about him a lot.
I just want people to know who our next coach should be.
Well, all right, your moneymaker. It's Virginia Tech minus 4.5 against Pittsburgh.
The backyard brawl?
Yeah. Pittsburgh.
Questionable.
VT has really impressed me the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'll give you that. Rivalry
like
game.
That. Yeah. Pitt's not doing what
Matt
I thought
Canada,
they would.
though. They've got Matt Canada.
I mean, he's not a miracle worker, man. Matt Canada is just one man. He can't do it all, you know.
I'm just one man.
He's just one man.
Johnny Moxon.
I also like. Yeah, I'm glad you got the Varsity Blues reference. There you go. Johnny Moxon is just one man. Anyway, App State minus 5 against Georgia Southern. I want to go that one too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But yeah, Pitt's not done what I thought they would this year.
Yeah,
I remember back to last season, they were your sleeper pick for the Coastal, but
man, they started out hot too. Yeah. The defense looked good, and then
I thought they'd be better than they were this year, but it's just not came together. So
even this year, they started out okay, and you just felt flat.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Throw those 3 into a parlay, and you're rich. So
I'm rich, bitch.
Yeah. Honestly, right. I mean, look at our records.
That's right.
You're good.
We're awesome. Don't look at my Bovada account. Yeah. That's for sure.
I didn't know that shit could go negative, but it can. So you got
all
anything
right, we're
else,
getting
man?
off the rails. No, we are way off the rails. Thanks for listening to the Accidentally Drunk edition of the Red and White Podcast.
Cheers.
Yeah. Hopefully the Pac blows out BC, and we will talk to you next week. Thanks for listening. Go Pac.
Go Pac.